Have you ever caught yourself replaying something from years ago, as if it happened yesterday? A conversation, a regret, a mistake, or even a person you haven't spoken to in forever. And no matter how much time passes, your brain keeps dragging you back. This isn't nostalgia. This is rumination, the mind's habit of trapping you inside your own past, even when a big part of you wants to move forward.
That's literally me. I'll just be living my life, and suddenly my brain whispers, "Remember that thing you said 3 years ago?" It hits out of nowhere, like an unwanted pop-up. And I'm always like, why now?
Because rumination isn't random. It's a psychological loop driven by the default mode network, the part of your brain that wakes up the moment you're not actively focused on something. And here's the twist. When your mind has free space, it doesn't relax. It goes searching through emotional archives for unresolved moments.
So my brain is basically scrolling through old files on its own, and always opening the worst ones.
Exactly. Rumination begins with something that was never emotionally completed, a moment your brain can't categorize as finished. The human mind hates open loops. If your past contains unanswered questions, unprocessed emotions, or uncertainty, your brain keeps returning to the scene like it's trying to solve a mystery.
That explains why I replay moments hoping they'll feel different. It's like I'm trying to rewrite history in my head.
Right. Rumination tricks you into believing that repeating the thought will finally make it make sense. But thinking isn't healing. Thinking is just mental repetition. Your brain reopens the wound because it hopes overanalysis will stop the pain. But the opposite happens. Every replay strengthens the emotional imprint, making the memory feel more alive than it actually is.
So the more I think about it, the deeper it gets carved in.
Exactly. And here's a deeper psychological truth. We get stuck in the past the most when the present feels uncertain. Rumination becomes a safe place, even though it hurts. It's familiar pain, predictable pain. When life feels overwhelming, your mind chooses the past over the present, because the past is something you already survived.
So I'm choosing old wounds over new fears. That hurts to admit.
And it's incredibly human. People revisit the past when the future feels too unclear. Rumination acts like a defense mechanism. Let me go back to something I already know instead of dealing with something I can't control. The brain sees familiarity as safety, even when the familiarity is painful.
That makes the whole thing feel less irrational. Like there's actually a reason behind it.
There is. And another huge factor is shame. One of the most powerful fuels for rumination is the belief that you should have known better, or should have done better. Shame convinces you that reviewing the past is a form of correction, but all it really does is keep you trapped in self-judgment.
I definitely do that. Sometimes I look back and feel embarrassed by decisions I made with the information I had then.
And that's growth, but your brain reads it as failure. Rumination feels heavy because it's you comparing your past self with your present awareness. You're holding yourself to a standard you didn't have yet. And emotionally, that's a battle you can never win.
So how do you break the loop? Because knowing this is helpful, but the thoughts still come back.
You break the loop by changing your relationship with the thoughts. First, bring your attention back to the present. Rumination collapses when your mind is fully engaged with what's in front of you. Minds can't ruminate and focus at the same time. Second, rewrite the meaning of the memory instead of replaying the moment. You're not stuck because of what happened. You're stuck because of the story you built around it. Replace judgment with understanding. Replace shame with compassion. The moment loses power when its meaning changes. And third, feed your brain new emotional material. Rumination fades when your present becomes more emotionally fulfilling than your past, when you're actively living instead of mentally revisiting.
That actually gives me hope. It makes me feel like I'm not broken or dramatic, just stuck in a cycle that finally makes sense.
Exactly. Rumination isn't a sign of weakness. It's your brain trying to protect you using outdated emotional information. And once you understand that, the past stops feeling like a cage and starts feeling like something you can finally outgrow.
That's exactly the perspective shift people need.
If you enjoyed this conversation, subscribe to The Curiosity Vault, where we explore the psychology behind why you think, feel, and behave the way you do. Until next time, stay curious